Hi there, boys and girls. John Holt here. So, what I want to talk to you guys about a little bit is the hashtag dreamrig solo competition. I've seen a few comments about how people want to do it, but they're not really sure what to play over it and they can't figure it out. The reason for this is it modulates all over the place. What that means, it changes key a lot, and you can't just like find the scale and play. And a lot of these changes happen in real strange places. So what I want to do is just like go over real quick with a few options on each chord, what you can do and like how I would approach it. So let's just get right into it. First of all, we got to figure out. Let me turn on my speakers. Got to figure out what key we're in and what chords we're playing over, right? So if we listen to it, very nicely played by Misha, by the way. So the first thing is the E minor to B minor. Okay, so to make this simple, scales that work really well for these two is like the E minor pentatonic scale. You could also use either the Aeolian or you could use the Dorian scale. So let me just show you kind of what that sounds like. Alright. Not a huge fan of that sound. Personally, I stay away from the Aeolian scale like it was to play. Here's the Dorian. That sixth there still feels a little out. So what I would do, I would probably pentatonic this for the most part. And I would probably add the 9. It has a kind of sexy sound, so that works really well. And you might have to go back because I'm gonna just spit a lot of information at you. But for the first part, like E minor pentatonic, works really well. And then stuff happens. Right there. So what happens is they go down to D minor. So basically nothing you played in E is going to work anymore. So you have to move everything down a whole step. So say that you were playing the E minor pentatonic. Now when it modulates, you have to play the D minor pentatonic. Or any of the options that we mentioned earlier. Because it's the same thing. It goes from D minor to A minor, right? So we move from E minor to B minor to D minor to A minor. And again, this is called a modulation. So they change the key. And again, the same things work. If you want to make it really easy on yourself, just E minor to D minor. I'll just do that. I'll just play a little bit and just try to prove my point, or make a point, rather. E minor. Here comes a D. And of course, there, all that goes to hell because up shows a chord that's it's a G sharp major 7 flat 5. Really, or actually, it's a sharp 11. What you need to know about this, good choices, is the Lydian scale, or really any major triad. And if you want to sound expensive, put a major 7. Or a sharp 4 on it. And to make a little example of that. Oops, sorry, I need to go back a little bit more. Sorry. Here it comes. Okay, and then that goes back by B minor. So to recap the first part, because that whole thing repeats: E minor to B minor. Here you can use any E minor scale, really. I find E minor pentatonic works really well. It goes to D minor to A minor, so exactly the same thing, whole step down. That's 2 frets, by the way. And then when the G lands, G sharp Lydian. Whenever you have a major with that sharp 4, we call that Lydian, okay? So that's for the first part. That's what I would use. So experiment with this and see what you find. You can also just Yngwie Malmsteen it and just like sweep arpeggios for every chord, being E minor, B minor, D minor, A minor into G major. Then, of course, this all changes. In the second half... Alright, so here's the second part. This is where it all starts to kick in. Excuse me, I just had milkshake, so I'm The first chord here is a B major 7. So if you don't know, it's a root major 3rd, perfect 5th, and a major 7. This pretty much paints you into the corner of either Ionian or Lydian. Or you can go major pentatonics. Either of those are going to work really well. However, it's only going to work for that chord because the next chord is a D major 7. And these two chords have very little in common. There's very few common notes between them. And they're definitely not in the same key. And I'm sure there's some theory purists out there who's going to be like, hey, you're wrong. I'm doing this for the people who aren't super good with theory and know all this shit already. Okay, so. However, the D is followed by a G. And that gives us a little bit of actually feeling of being in the same key for a second. What you can do is you can minor pentatonic, because both the D and the G are in the B minor key. So you kind of go from B major to B minor. Actually, let me try something. I'm just going to play a B major scale, and then when the second chord happens, I'm going to play a B minor scale for the next two chords, and let's just see what it sounds like. Had to be a little faster, but you heard it sounded pretty good. It sounded pretty good on the first chord, and then when you change to the second chord, going to the minor works really well. Another alternative is just pentatonic it, which is something I really love doing. So major pentatonic, minor pentatonic, which sounds really cool. And the chord that comes after is a B flat major 7, or a B flat major of some sort. I think it's a major 7. So again, we're completely being thrown out here. Nothing's going to work that just worked. So what I would do on that B flat, I would take the same Lydian approach as I did with the G sharp. Yeah, it's sharps and flat, who cares? You know what the note is. Okay, so for the second part so far, we have B major 7, play anything B major. So Ionian or Lydian, major with a major 7. When the D and the G happens, you can go to B minor. And then when the B flat happens, play B flat. Sorry, did I say B minor? I meant B flat. B flat. Play B flat Lydian stuff. Here's my awesome B flat Lydian trick, by the way. So we're in B flat, right? We know this. We know this chord. It will work like a goddamn charm, no matter how you put those notes together. It's gonna sound like you know what you're doing. When that comes around on the repeat, the B major 7 is the same, D is the same, G is the same, but it lands in an E major. All right, so what are we gonna do with that? Well, you could actually, you can still B pentatonic, B minor pentatonic. That's actually going to work over that whole section. If you want to be real slick, make sure you throw a G sharp in there when the E happens. Let me see if I can make some kind of point out of this. Also, the chords land on really strange beats. Like the first chord I think is 3 beats long, and the next one is 5.5 beats, and the next one is 3.5 beats. So it's all still in 4/4. It's just, it feels odd because, thanks Misha. So major, minor, so that's a real money note. Like when the E happens the second time, if you land anywhere in a G sharp, you're gonna sound like a golden god. And I think that's pretty much it. So to recap, and I know this is a lot, so feel free to rewind. It's like, hey, what did he say again? The very first part, E minor, B minor. E minor pentatonic is going to work really well. Most of the minor scales will, but that's like a really safe bet. Modulates down to D to A minor. Exactly the same thing, one step down. So D minor pentatonic works well over those. And then that G sharp Lydian shows up. So play either Lydian scale. You can play a major pentatonic. You can use my Lydian trick. Okay, so that's for the first part. Second part, B major 7. Play either B major pentatonic, or B major Ionian, or B major Lydian. And then if you want to make your life easier for the D and the G, just B minor pentatonic it. It's gonna sound awesome. Or you can B minor, use a B minor scale. And then we have the B flat Lydian chord. So again, use my Lydian trick, or just play the Lydian scale, or just Ingrid Malmsteen it if that's your taste or your flavor. B comes back, D comes back, and on the E you can hang on B minor pentatonic scale, but add that G sharp. This also makes it into more or less a Dorian scale. So if you want to be fancy, over the E you can play B minor Dorian. Alright, I think that's it. I hope this helps. Let me know in the comments if you found this useful. And check out my solo too, because my approach is basically playing over each chord like it's almost its own individual. So over E minor, I play E minor stuff. B minor, I play B minor stuff, and then I pick and choose what kind of intervals and flavors I want to use for it. But that is sort of when you got them really used to, you know where all your chords are, and you know where all your scales are and all that stuff. So that's maybe a little bit farther. If you're struggling with this, it might be a little too much. If I do all right in this competition, I would probably put up a lesson of my solo with a tab on how I was thinking and what I do. So thanks for watching, and I hope this helps. And yeah, cool. See you guys later.